Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something super interesting today.
Language learning trends.
You got it. We're taking a close look at treffpunkt sprachen
Hmm?
here in Austria.
A really popular language center?
Exactly. And get this, the reasons people are signing up for language courses are changing in some pretty wild ways.
Yeah, it's a bit of a head scratcher, right?
Totally. So we're seeing this dip in enrollment for those big languages.
The classics like English, French, Italian, and Spanish.
Yep. But here's the thing.
People are actually more interested in learning languages for personal reasons now, not just for their careers.
It's like, I'm not just learning this to get a promotion. I'm learning it because I love it, right?
Precisely. And this shift is making language centers like Treffpunkt Sprachen really rethink how they do things.
So let's break it down, language by language,
It's good to me.
starting with English being, everywhere these days.
Yeah, you'd think enrollment would be skyrocketing.
I know, right?
Huh?
But surprisingly, general English courses are actually seeing a decline.
It seems like a lot of people already have a pretty good grasp of English from school and, just life in general.
So they're already binge watching their favorite shows without subtitles.
Exactly.
So what's the deal with English enrollment at Treffpunkt Sprachen then?
Well, while general English might be down, specialized English courses are on the rise.
Ah, so people are looking to fine-tune their skills for specific things like business or travel.
Yeah. Or maybe they just want to better understand those song lyrics they love.
So it's less about the basics and more about leveling up those English skills, huh?
Exactly. And here's where it gets even more interesting.
Lay it on me.
Research from Treffpunkt Sprachen is showing that practicality isn't the only factor anymore.
Okay.
A lot of people are enrolling in English courses just because they enjoy it and want to connect with the culture behind the language.
I can see that. Like, I could already watch the movies, but now I want to really get the humor, the slang, the whole cultural experience.
Precisely. It's all about that deeper connection.
That makes a lot of sense for English. What about French? What's happening with French enrollment at Treffpunkt Sprachen?
French is an interesting one.
How so?
Well, it's still seen as a really valuable language, especially for things like diplomacy.
Right, the language of international affairs and all that.
Yeah, but enrollment has been steadily declining.
So what's going on? Is French just losing its appeal?
I don't think so. It's
Okay.
a little more complex than that.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Studies show that a lot of people had, let's say, not so great experiences learning French in the past, especially in school.
Ah, yeah, I can see that. I remember those verb conjugations.
Exactly. And sometimes the learning environment just wasn't engaging enough.
Yeah, totally.
So these past experiences, they kind of cast a shadow over French, even if people are interested in the culture or the benefits of learning it.
It's like they're carrying this baggage from those earlier days.
Yeah, and it's making them hesitant to give French another try.
Which is a bummer because, French is a beautiful language with a rich culture.
It really...
All right, on to Italian. What's attracting people to learn Italian at Treffpunkt Sprachen these days?
Well, for starters, Italy is right there, next door.
Right, a hop, skip, and a jump away.
And it's such a popular vacation spot for us Austrians.
I mean, who doesn't love Italian food, the scenery, the whole vibe, right?
Exactly. So that familiarity and wanting to really connect with the culture when traveling, that's definitely a major draw for people.
It's like I love going to Italy, so why not learn the language and make the experience even better?
Precisely. It taps into that same enjoyment factor we were talking about with English.
So what's the catch? There's going to be a catch, right?
Well, there's been some interesting research from Treffpunkt Sprachen.
Hit me with it.
It shows that a lot of students struggle with basic grammar concepts, and this is actually slowing them down in Italian.
You mean they're struggling with grammar in general, even in their native German?
Yeah, and it seems to be spilling over into their Italian learning.
Wow. So a strong foundation in your native language is key when tackling a new one.
It seems that way. It really highlights the importance of those fundamental building blocks.
Fascinating. Okay, last but not least, Spanish. What's the story with Spanish enrollment at Treffpunkt Sprachen?
With Spanish, personal reasons are front and center.
Okay.
Students are saying things like they want to understand their favorite Spanish language shows and music.
I can relate to that.
Or they have family ties to Spanish-speaking countries, or they just have this genuine passion for the language and culture.
It's like that desire for a deeper connection, just like we saw with English, right?
Exactly.
But I'm guessing there's a flip side to this, too.
You know it. Spanish grammar and vocabulary, they can be a bit intimidating for some.
I can imagine. Those verb conjugations, the subjunctive mood, it can be a lot.
It really can. So it's a trade-off, right?
Like weighing the passion against the challenge.
Exactly. We're seeing a lot of people grapple with that.
Okay, so we've looked at each language individually, but I'm curious, is there a bigger takeaway here?
Definitely. If you step back and look at all of these trends,
Yeah.
it's clear that, intrinsic motivation,
That inner drive.
that's right, it's becoming the main force in language learning these days.
So it's not just about padding the old resume anymore.
Not so much. It's more about, hey, I want to learn this because I love it,
Right. It's about passion.
Exactly. And for language centers like Treffpunkt Sprachen, this is a big deal.
A challenge.
A challenge and an opportunity. They have to find new ways to engage people to make learning fun and relevant to their lives.
I guess it's less about textbooks and more about creating experiences,
I
right?
got it. It's about tapping into those individual passions, showing people how language can open doors to new experiences and connections.
So it's like instead of just learning grammar rules in a classroom, you're learning to, I don't know, discuss your favorite Spanish films with native speakers or something like that.
That's the idea.
That's cool.
Yep.
So how does all of this relate to our listener? Why should they care about these shifting motivations?
Well, think about it this way. When you understand what really drives you to learn a language,
You're much more likely to, pick the right language for you.
right, find the right approach, the right resources.
Exactly. And ultimately, you'll probably have more success and enjoy the process a lot more.
It's about being honest with yourself, right? What are my goals? What am I truly passionate about?
Precisely. And remember, even if you find a language tough,
Yeah, those grammar rules can be tricky.
if you have that passion, that inner drive, it can really help you push through those challenges.
It's about finding that sweet spot where your love for learning and your personal goals, they kind of meet in the middle.
Exactly. And that brings us to a really thought-provoking question for our listener to ponder. What does the future of language learning actually look like if it really is all about personal interest?
It really makes you wonder what kind of crazy new approaches we might see in the next few years.
Right, like if traditional methods aren't cutting it anymore,
Yeah.
how can we make language learning more exciting, more relevant to people's actual lives? Totally. It's got to be more than just memorizing verb conjugations, right?
Right. I mean, maybe we'll see more of those immersive experiences.
Oh, you mean like traveling to a country and actually using the language?
Exactly. Putting yourself out there, making mistakes, actually having conversations.
Yeah. Or what about virtual reality? I could see that playing a bigger role.
Totally. Imagine stepping into a virtual world and having to use the language to navigate it.
That'd be so cool.
And then there's technology, right? There's so much potential there to personalize language learning.
Yeah, like apps that adapt to your interests and how you learn best.
Right. Giving you custom content, feedback, making the whole experience feel tailored to you.
I can even see language learning becoming more tied to things we already love, like music, movies, even video games.
I know, right? It's like level up your Spanish while you're playing your favorite game. How cool would that be?
That's awesome. So it sounds like the future of language learning is all about making it personal.
Yeah. Engaging and relevant to our lives.
No. And that brings us to a final thought for you listening out there.
Take a second and really think about why you want to learn a language.
Yeah, what are you passionate about? What gets you fired up?
Because maybe, just maybe, listening a new language could help you explore those passions in a whole new way.
And if you're ready to get started, definitely check out what Treffpunkt Sprachen has to offer.
They've got so many options, you're bound to find something that's perfect for you.
Yeah, they could be the spark you need to ignite your language learning journey.
So until next time, keep those language fires burning, and we'll catch you on our next deep dive.